Okay, we are back and we are live. Welcome back, you guys, to our daily live feed as you guys are logging on. If you'd like to come and work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. We are live right now, both on Instagram and on YouTube. If you are on either one, say hello, comment, let me know you're here, say what's up. If you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications. If you do that, then you'll get notified about 30 minutes before we go live. You'll get a notification. What's up, Jared? Jared's on. We're going to be shouting out Jared tonight in just a few minutes. You're getting a special shout out today, Jared. What's up, Kelby? Kelby's over on Instagram. What's up, Lexi? Welcome. And of course, as we're waiting for everyone to get logged on, if you've not gotten your Cuties Conference Stage tickets yet, you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram or in the description box here on YouTube. There are full price tickets available, and there are also live stream tickets available too. So check that out. Happy Wednesday, Yolanda. Yes. Hello, Karen. Welcome. Tonight, I'm going to be taking some of your suggestions that you wrote into me yesterday and kind of expanding upon them. And we are also going to take any ones that you have for me here tonight, too. Things that you'd like to see happen in 2023 as far as changes, rules, criteria, how shows are ran, just all sorts of things. Anything that you can think of that you would like to see happen in 2023. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to bring up a few of them that were sent in yesterday and kind of explain my thoughts on them, whether I think they're a good idea or if they would actually work or if they wouldn't, that kind of thing. The logistical things involved, all of that sort of thing. I'll talk about a few things I'd like to see happen for this coming year. And we'll kind of just go back and forth. So I want all of the comments in tonight. I'm going to actually leave the comment bar up tonight on YouTube because if we screen share, it's going to be like pictures and rules and things like that. So it's not actual critiquing of anybody tonight. We will do a preview of this coming weekend shows tomorrow, and we'll go through some points, things, and stuff like that too. Turn this off right here. There we go. Okay, so as we're sitting here, go ahead. Tell me some things that you'd like to see happen for next year. So maybe some rules changes, maybe some things you'd like to see happen within the organization. Anything. Go ahead. And while we're waiting for those to come in, I'm going to bring up one of them that was sent in yesterday. Actually, it was sent in by Carolyn, which I think she's on Instagram right now. And she said she'd like to see live streams at all shows. I would love to see live streams at all shows. However, logistically, that's not possible. Maybe, down the line kind of thing. But what I would like to see there be a hub where everybody, all the promoters would kind of buy into it. The problem with it is just that there are shows all over the world. So you can't control the quality of live streams and things like that. There are a few promoters that do all kind of band together and use the same people that produce all their live streams and video equipment and things like that. And they're able to control the quality that goes out. That happens here in the DC or Virginia, Maryland area. Our Shop Gym people, they do a lot of live streaming stuff around here, as well as like nationals and things like that. And the quality is fantastic. But the problem is that, like I was saying in the answer on Instagram, when you become a promoter, it's like you're given a sanction, which is like kind of like being a franchise owner at McDonald's. You know what I mean? There's certain things that you have to stand by as far as standards are concerned when it comes to having that sanction and all of that kind of thing. But beyond that, it's up to you. Beyond that, it's up to you in order to make it work. So yeah, it's just at this point, it's just not possible. And The reason why is because a lot of these promoters are one-man bands. You know what I mean? They're just trying to make it work for themselves. They're trying to create something for themselves. They're trying to create a legacy. They're trying to create their own branding, all that kind of thing. So they're doing this with the bare bones budget. And it's really hard to do a very good quality live stream without a technical crew behind it. And technical crews are expensive. Trust me, I know from running live streams myself. It's just expensive and it's hard to do when you're just starting out as a, as a new promoter, that kind of thing. So there, many of them are stepping up to the plate. Many of them are putting it out there because of the way that our world is working today. You kind of have to. But at the same time, you guys know, I mean, it's a lot to have to spend, $30 a week on shows. And, there is like Center Podium, which they've got several shows, things like that too. And you can buy a monthly membership from them. But even at that, I don't think it's quite worth it because you might have a show, but you might not, you know what I mean? So it just becomes logistically difficult, very logistically difficult. And then if your stream doesn't work, or if you have a crappy stream, then you get people doing chargebacks and bitching and complaining and moaning about it, right? So live stream takes away from the house crowd size and ticket sales for local small show promoters. And you said they're a one-man band. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. That's the next part of it. So you can technically at least break even, maybe make a little bit of money when you got pros. But when it comes to local NPC shows, it's mostly local people going to see their friends and family. You know what I mean? So that is not viable for local promoters because it takes away from their ticket sales. And again, it's another expense. It's a big expense. Trust me. Like I said, a good high quality live stream is going to cost you in the thousands of dollars. And if you don't have the NPC numbers behind that to support that, it's not an expense that's worth investing in. It's just not. So it's very difficult on the promoter's end to be able to do that. Even at the pro level, it's hard to make money off of them. A lot of times they're doing it just because it's kind of necessary for pros at this point. I kind of feel like if you're promoting a pro show, you should have a live stream and hopefully at least make a little bit of money off of it as a promoter. But it's just not, it's just really hard to, it's hard to control the quality firstly. And secondly, it's just hard to make money. Just hard to make money. This is a small niche sport, you guys. Things that work in sports like football and work in sports like CrossFit and things like that don't work in bodybuilding because we don't have the same amount of dollars behind it, right? When you don't have a big bank of sponsor money and things like that coming in, it's really hard to make some of those things work. So I don't think we'll ever see it across the board. I do think people are getting a little bit better about it as far as promoters figuring out ways to make it work. But it's probably just going to be when it's attached to a pro show, for several reasons that we just mentioned. It's just not, it's an expense when it comes to an NPC show versus something that's going to make a profit for the promoter, right? High wages for bikini winners. Yeah, higher wages for bikini winners. Hungry, gotta go. Chat said, okay, that was Jordan just putting her 2 cents in over here on Instagram. Higher wages for bikini winners, and I would agree with that. I would agree that I think that the prize money should be increased, specifically for divisions like bikini and men's physique, classic physique too. I mean, all of them, they bring in more money now. That wasn't the case years ago. That was not the scenario, but now the tides have really turned and the divisions like bikini and men's physique and classic physique are really kind of keeping the sport viable, to be honest with you. So, yeah, open women's bodybuilding, 50K, pro bikini, 2K. Yeah, it's true. So, I think we do need to have people that are kind of advocates for the women in our sport. That's what I try to do here with these live feeds. I try to become, advocates for women as best I can. I don't have the thousands of dollars to put into the prize money, but I try to at least make it known what is being talked about, what is being asked for. You know what I mean? What 30 to 50K? I'm not sure what that is in reference to, Jordan, your last comment, the 30 to 50K aspect of it. But yeah, I do think that they need to reassess a lot of the financial pieces of this industry. To be honest with you, it's not the same bodybuilding scene as it was, 10 years ago, right? I do think that there should be they really need to know their numbers. I hope that people know their numbers and can sit down and really figure this out. I do understand that the open men bring in a lot of money, and I'm not saying take money away from them, but what I am saying is invest in the divisions that are growing, because bikini is growing, men's physique is growing. These divisions, classic physique again, is growing. These divisions that are growing should be invested into so they can grow more, right? Which actually kind of leads me into another one that somebody sent in that I actually disagree with, which is the less Olympia qualifications. I believe that there should be as many Olympia qualifications out there as possible, right? Qualify the whole freaking gamut. It is a worldwide sport. We have to remember this is not just related to the United States anymore, or regulated to the United States anymore. It is all over the world. So I do think that Olympia qualifications don't need to be limited. I think that we need more of them, to be perfectly honest with you. And then what I think needs to happen, I've mentioned this a few times, is that once you get to the Olympia weekend, that there is a cut round. Even this year, this year's an anomaly because we have, 14 months of qualifications versus a typical 12-month qualification year. So we've got a lot of people qualified this year. But in a normal year, it's probably going to be a little bit less than what we have this year. There should be a cut round. There should be a round where we cut out, the bottom half of the people, whatever that number is, whether it's top 20 or whatever it may be. The top 20 move on, top 16 move on to prejudging, actual real prejudging, and then we go into finals. They've already got the Amateur Olympia going on, so it would be just like adding on to the Amateur Olympia in that 1 day span right there where you do the cut round, right? That would be my 2 cents. Opens men at the Olympia, makes over 6 figures. Pro bikini makes between 30 to 50. Oh, okay. I got you. I can't remember the amount, but something in that range. Yeah, and you're right. And I don't remember the amount off the top of my head either. I'm sure I can probably pull it up onto MrOlympia.com. But yeah, you're right. It needs to be assessed. That aspect of it definitely needs to be assessed, 100%. So, I would actually like to see more Olympic qualifications, like I said. And here's the thing. So I get it. It's money, all of this kind of stuff. The more competitors that you qualify, the more money has to be spent on, airlines, hotel rooms, all this kind of stuff. But you make that a part of the qualification cut round aspect. Whoever makes it past a certain, whatever it is, like I said, top 16, top 20, those are the ones that get everything paid for. The other ones don't. I don't think anybody would not go to the Olympia if they qualify. You know what I mean? They're going to figure out a way to go. They're going to figure out a way to get there. They're going to bring their friends and family. That's going to be ticket sales. They're going to enjoy the Olympia weekend. It's just going to bring more people all the way around. And then if you don't make it into the top 15 or whatever it is, that's fine. You go and you enjoy the rest of the Olympia weekend as a fan of the sport. At that level, you should want to be there anyway. You know what I mean? When you're in that talk, when you're in that frame, you want to be at the Olympia regardless of if you're on the stage or if you're not. So I really think that the more people that can get qualified, the better. And like I said, you earn everything else after that once you're there at the Olympia, right? Something that somebody has brought up a couple weeks ago was to go to a point system completely for Olympic qualifications. And I talked to her and I was like, no, that's a really bad idea. Because what happens is what we see now, what's going on right now, these last couple of weeks with the girls, the top 5 girls, top 6 girls in points are trying to solidify their Olympic qualification. And it can come down to not who's the best athlete, but who has the most money to be able to go to each show and compete, right? So I personally, when it comes to qualifications for the Olympia, I think you should have to win a show. I don't think there should be a point system at all. I think you should have to win. We're at that point now, like I said, that this sport is big enough. There's enough opportunities that you should have to win a show in order to go. That's my 2 cents. So while I'm in favor of adding more Olympia qualifications, I am not in favor of the point system. And that's just me. That's my 2 cents. I think that, if you can't beat people on an open, regular bikini stage or men's physique or classic physique or whatever, any of the divisions, if you can't beat them on the open stage, how are you going to beat them when you get to the Olympia? Right? So that's what I think. I think you have to win a show in order to get in. That's just my 2 cents. But again, like I said, qualify, get as many shows out there and qualify everybody. Everybody that wins gets qualified. And then you cut them, right? Then you cut them. And if your division only qualifies 16 people that year or whatever the qualification is, then they all make it to the regular prejudging, or they all make it to the regular finals, or whatever, however you line it up. But I do think that whole qualification system does need to be assessed. Just like we were talking about here with Jordan's comment about prize money, I think that does need to be assessed. And I think it needs to be worked out a little differently. And just make it more equitable across the board in both of those scenarios. Let me pull up another question. Any other questions that you guys have? Go ahead and type them in as we're sitting here. Go ahead and say some things that you would like to see. And as far as the qualification system for nationals, I think we're in a good spot as far as qualifying at the local level, going up to national level. With the COVID situation, they had made it like top 5 qualify for nationals at every local show. And that was way too much, but I understand why they did it, because the qualification, the shows were limited because of shutdowns, things like that. So I understand why they did it that year. Now it's down to the top 2 again, which I think is the right call. I think that's good. I think that's a good system right there. So as far as the qualification system to actually go to nationals, I think we're good on that one. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it the way that it stands right now. You still have to be good enough to go to nationals regardless. Just because you win a small local show doesn't mean that you're ready to go up to nationals. And hopefully you have some coaches and people on your team that can tell you that, and that can be honest with you about that, and can really point you in the right direction with that, right? Oh, you know what? While we're sitting here, I completely started on our whole topic and I forgot to shout out Jared. So for those of you that are in our mailing list, you saw this already today, but Jared is our top ever Conquering Cutie Challenge winner. So we do the Cutie Challenge every year, and this is for referrals and coaches that we work with, athletes that we work with. And as you refer in clients to us, you earn points, and those points can qualify you for trips to the Olympia. Now, we've had several coaches in the past that have qualified for the hotel stay at the Olympia. Jared not only qualified for the hotel stay, but he also qualified for the plane ticket too, which is the first time we've ever had anybody do that. So I've got a picture right here so you guys can see from the Ben Weeder. So I wanted to give him a big shout out today, because we've been doing this Cutie Challenge for 5 years, and he's the first person that has ever qualified for that particular reward. So congratulations to Jared. He will be at the Olympia this year. And I'm really excited that he was able to do that. And I also want to thank him for trusting us to take care of his clients too. That puts a lot of faith in me, and I appreciate that. And I would, I take that responsibility really seriously, and I'm happy that we're able to reward you back too, right? I couldn't have done it without my clients and you. I feel like it's a team win. Clients trust us and help them get ready. Absolutely. And that's the whole thing. That's exactly why we do this kind of thing, because then you guys as competitors know that you're with people that you can trust. You know that you're with people that have your back and that want to see the best for you and that want to see you win. So I just wanted to say congratulations, because again, in the 5 years that we've done this, he is the only one that has made it to the Emerald tier. So, and he's a local coach here in Richmond, and he was able to do that. And it's pretty friggin' awesome. And so if he can do it, that means you can do it too, right? Yes. Congratulations to Jared. So I want to make sure I got that out there. I was going to say it at the beginning and I forgot. So, yes, Vegas is going to be a great time. Can't wait. It's coming up quick too. It's like a month away at this point. So it's crazy. We'll be talking about that soon too, because we have several ladies that qualify for the PPG, the PPP. It was PPG. We changed it. It's PPP. So it's the Pro Performer Promise, which means if you win your pro card while working with me, wearing one of my suits, you also win a trip to the Olympia. So we have several girls that qualify for that. Jennifer being one of them that I just had on the screen. So yeah, here you go. Awesome. Basically, we give back and thank you for trusting in us. So, ta-da! All right. Anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about. Completely lost my train of thought as far as what I was talking about from the question that I was going to go into next, which I think was I was going to talk about the Masters Olympia. Because we were talking about qualification system for the Olympia as well as national level and things like that. Also, remember, we talked about this a little bit, that there is a Masters Olympia coming up this coming year. So there will be a new qualification series for that for sure. Now, I don't know when exactly we're going to see the rules and things like that come out, the changes come out and things like that, because typically that happens like right after nationals. And nationals typically takes place in November, but nationals is taking place in December this year. So I'm guessing we might see some rule changes start coming out in the next few weeks. We might start seeing some of the pro schedule coming out in the next few weeks. Like I said, it's usually right after nationals, but again, nationals has been pushed back to the week before Olympia. So I'm guessing somewhere in the next month or so, we're gonna start seeing some of these things come out. We're gonna start seeing some of the regulations, some of the rule changes, all those kinds of things. So just to kind of wrap up on that, I would like to see some qualification system changes for the Olympia. We will see some qualification changes for the Masters Olympia because we haven't had one before. So that's going to be new. And then as far as qualifying from the local to the national level or the national level to the pro level, I think we're good. I don't think anything needs to change there. I think that's working pretty well at that point. Okay, so next one is and as I said, if you have anything that you wanted to add, go ahead and type it in as I'm going through some of the ones that were sent in. One of the ones that people sent in was they wanted to see the size and conditioning in all divisions brought down. And my response on that is that I'm actually okay with the size of each class when it comes to the women. What I would like to see brought down is the conditioning. I think that conditioning has run a lot of these divisions up a whole lot higher than they should be. And as females, it's very, very hard to get the level of conditioning that they're asking for in a lot of these divisions. If they were able to soften up each division a little bit more, I think that the look would be a whole lot prettier and healthier. And I think it would be something that would be a more, I guess longevity of competitors would be a lot better, right? And a lot of this my thought process was brought about by watching that recent documentary, that Killer Sally documentary. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it's about a female bodybuilder that killed her husband on Netflix right now. But they showed a lot of footage from back in the 80s and 90s and things like that from bodybuilding back in the day. And you really saw how beautiful the bodies were when they were more muscular, but not quite so conditioned, especially like female bodybuilding and things like that as the division started to grow. I would like to see it go back to that full roundness like that. I think it's a very athletic and healthy look. And I'd like to see that kind of go that direction. Will it? Probably not. I'm just going to be honest, probably not. But I would like to see that happen. I think even, and I hate to say bring in another division because that tends to be the solution that's always brought to the table. And then within a few years that division has been pushed through the roof again with the conditioning. But maybe just even bringing in a softer division of bikini. When bikini first started, it was started because of the flex model searches that they had at the Olympia. They were seeing, 50, 60, 70 girls entering these flex model searches. And they were just really pretty athletic looking girls. And that's what they brought in to start bikini. And I felt like that was a little bit too soft. So if we could somehow find a way to go between the bikini model look and what we have today in bikini, I think would be good. You know, I like the muscularity. I like the look of being an athlete. I would just like to see the conditioning level brought under control. Now, when we go to the Olympia and we see the top 5, top 10 at the Olympia, we're going to see conditioning a little bit better on par with what the criteria should be. I'm hoping. And if that stands up, I would like to see that across the board. You know what I mean? I'd like to see everything be pulled down. I actually think that Jennifer Dory as Miss Bikini Olympia this past year, I liked her level of conditioning. I thought it was good. I didn't think she was over the top on anything. I just like to see more people look like that, to be honest with you. Do you feel like the current Bikini Olympia represent the vision should look like? Yes. So that's what I just mentioned. Yes, I do. I do think that they do. Now, with the exception of, you know, when we're getting up into women's physique and bodybuilding, female bodybuilding, you're seeing really grainy conditioning and things like that. And I just think I think even that can be pulled back. To be honest. With the exception, Andrea Shaw in women's bodybuilding, I actually think she's a really good representative of the female bodybuilding. Again, she's the winner. And, when you get outside of the winner, that's when we start seeing problems, right? That's where we start seeing people trying to make up for lagging body parts with conditioning and things like that. So Sid Gillian, I think, is actually really good with it when it comes to conditioning. There's been several years where I've watched her on stage and I'm like, she's a little bit softer than everybody else and she still wins. And I like that. You know, I think that's the direction that everybody should be shooting for. And instead of trying to make up for lagging body parts in conditioning, they should just get those lagging body parts to where they should be, right? Yeah, I love Andrea's physique as well. I do too. So, you know, I think she's a very good representative of female bodybuilding. And I'd like to see everybody else look like that too. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, in general, I think across the board, we're good. With the winners. That's just, you know, everybody else, like I said, don't try to make up for, you know, lack of muscle maturity or something like that with conditioning, right? Because that's where we get into a trick bag. Because what happens is that the judges have to pick somebody to win and they have to pick everybody else around them. You know what I mean? So if you've got everything in place, you're going to win, which is our winners right now, right? But once you get outside of that, you start seeing things that are not quite there at the criteria. So we've talked about this before as far as chasing the criteria versus chasing a competitor or the judging, you know, that kind of thing. We've talked about that, or chasing the judging. We talked about that in a live feed where you don't want to chase the judging of a specific show. We want to chase the criteria, right? So I don't know if Jordan is still here on Instagram, but she's a perfect example of somebody who chased the criteria versus chasing a judging panel, right? So, you know, with Jordan's look, she took time off in order to get her physique to where it needed to be. And now that she did that, anytime she walks into a show, it's like a runaway win, right? That's what we should be doing as athletes. We shouldn't be getting on stage trying to chase a win. We should already have the winning physique and just get on stage, the winning physique that fits the criteria, and then just get on stage and win it. I hope that makes sense the way that I'm saying it. But you know, there's a handful of girls in the sport who do it that way. There's a handful of girls that do it that way. Everybody else, I think, is trying to catch up or speed up to this person or try to catch that person or whatever, that kind of thing. Instead of trying to chase that, get off stage and get your look to fit the criteria, and then get on stage and start banging out these wins. You know what I mean? And I know that's easier said than done. And I know that the genetic elite are always going to rise to the top. I get that. I understand that. But my point is get your best possible physique towards the criteria and then get on stage, right? I see people get really caught up in things like qualifying for the Olympia, getting points. You know, you get caught up on getting points for the Olympia or trying to get a better placing to get towards the Olympia. In the process, your physique suffers and your look suffers and you get further and further away from the criteria, right? So that's kind of a tangent. I don't even know where I started with that. Sometimes I do that. But yeah, So oh yeah, bringing the conditioning down is basically what I'm saying. I like the size of every division. I just think across the board, I'd like to see the conditioning be pulled down, you know, mimicking the winners of each division, to be honest with you, at the Olympia, the winners at the Olympia, mimic them, right? Let's see. Something else that was brought up, and I kind of want to explain this as to why it's not a possible thing to have happen, is show timing. Meaning, when are you getting on stage, what time, all those kinds of things. Now, as a pro, one of the perks of being a pro is they do tell you exactly when you're getting on stage, right? So you have a specific time for prejudging, you have a specific time for finals. Typically what they'll do is they'll stop the NPC and they'll put the pros on, regardless of where the NPC is. The reason why that's not possible in the NPC is because until the day of the show, they have no idea how many competitors are in each class. So there's no way for them to tell you exactly when you're going to be on stage. Even if they know a number, that doesn't necessarily mean that they know how many guys are going to be in classic physique that need to do routines, or how many guys are in open bodybuilding that need to do routines, right? That's why a lot of these men's like prejudging shows take a long time, because you've got classic physique and open bodybuilding that have routines that they have to do on top of their mandatories, right? So even if there's not as many classic and open bodybuilders, they're going to take just as long as the bikini competitors because they have a longer routine, right? So until the day of the show, even the promoters have absolutely no idea when you're going to be going on stage in the NPC because of that reason, right? They have people still signing up until 9 o'clock at night most of the time on Friday. Some people even come in on Saturday morning and sign up. So unfortunately, that's not something that they can really control. They just have to keep the show flow going. So that's why you as a competitor need to be there and ready to go, right? I always tell people this, I'm like, once you're there, once you're on site, once you're ready to go, don't leave. Just stay where you are, because that show could go super fast or it could take a long time, but you don't want to be somewhere else when they start calling for your class, right? So unfortunately, that's just not a thing that can happen. A good example, I use this as an example sometimes, is when I did my last NPC show before I won my pro card. I did Golden State Classic up in New Jersey. I did that show on purpose because I knew that it was going to be the judging panel that I was going to see at Team U, and it was 2 weeks prior to Team U. So I wanted to get in front of the same judges to get my feedback so that I could bring whatever it is they wanted me to bring to Team U. It's NPC Universe now. It was Team U when I won my pro card, just to clarify that. So that particular show, the year before, only had 80 total athletes. Total, right? Small show. So they just assumed that it was going to be the same that next year, and they allowed people even to sign up the day of the show on Saturday morning. Well, guess what? They had more than double the amount of competitors that year because everybody had the same idea I did. They wanted to get in front of the same judges before they went into Team U in 2 weeks. So where prejudging was supposed to start at 9 a.m., they didn't start prejudging until 1 p.m. because they were still registering people. That was a big wake-up call for people. I think that, again, I don't think the judging panel, I don't think the promoter realized that was going to happen, because they allowed late entries all the way up until the day of the show. Like Saturday morning, they were allowing late entries. And they were like, holy crap, because so many people showed up. So it was like, I think they had like 80 pre-registered, and then they got another 80 between Friday and Saturday. So it was literally like doubled the show. That was a long day. That's a long, long day. But that's why those reasons there are why you won't ever have an exact time of when you're going to go on stage when you're an amateur. Once you're a pro, that changes. Once you're a pro, you get perks, right? Once you're a pro, then you should know when you're going on stage, or at least know when the pros start. And then based on how many people you have in the pro division, you'll know when your division is going to actually start. You'll realize all that kind of stuff when you become a pro and you go through this a few times, right? So those are the questions that I kind of wanted to go over while we were here that did come in through my stories. Anybody else have any changes that they would like to see coming up in the new year? Anybody like to see some changes that I didn't cover? Maybe with judging criteria or something like that. One of the things that is happening is they're creating another committee to help with competitors' suggestions and things like that, which I think is good. Again, I try to be as much of an advocate as I can be here with you guys here on live. And also I talk to people when I'm at shows and tell them my thoughts. Like, people have heard all of this stuff from me before. I am not somebody that's going to be bashful about my opinion. I'll tell you straight up. If you work with me, you know that. If you work with me, you know I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. Now, you have the ability to take that advice and use it or not. That's totally your call. But I'm going to tell you the truth. And you know that if you work with me or if you know me at all. But I think we need more people that do that. I think we need more people to be advocates. And I think we also need more transparency as far as, like we were talking about before, Jordan's suggestion about increasing prize money. I think we need to look at some numbers and realize that this sport has evolved. And I do think that there should be some changes to reflect that. I think there should be some changes to reflect the changes in general to reflect the changes of the sport. So, question: if you were point system for the Olympia and you qualified, do you lose all of your points and start over the following year? Do you keep them? Oh no, you lose everything. It's just 1 year. It's a qualification period. That's it. Everybody starts from scratch as of November 21st. No, everybody starts from scratch. Does not matter. The only ones that are automatically qualified for next year are the Olympia winners. And then once we have the Olympia, then it'll be top 5 are automatically qualified, which that might change. I actually would like that to change. I think that the Olympia winners should be qualified for sure. I think the Olympia winners should be qualified. They just won the show. But I think the top 5 in any division should have to win a pro show in order to qualify. That was something new that they had that just came into play like this past year. And I don't agree with it. I think the top 5 in the Olympia should have to qualify, should have to re-qualify. Right? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Maybe you should get points. It's a tier 1 show. You should get points just like any other show. And you get the most points at the Olympia. So if you place top 5 at the Olympia, you're getting a shit ton of points. Totally agree with that. That's fine because we've got the point system, But as you guys know, I'm not a fan of the point system either. And if you place top 5 at the Olympia, you should be able to win a regular pro show throughout the year. I mean, I'm just saying that shouldn't be a problem. If you place top 5, you should be able to win a pro show. Just saying. So, and I think it keeps things more interesting too when you've got the top players actually competing in shows, right? Trying to think. I don't think Maureen competed all year except for the Olympia and the Arnold, right? She was one. Issa competed a few times. Ashley competed a few times. Laura Leap competed a few times. Yeah, I mean, in general. And then when you look at like wellness, everybody in the top 5, pretty much everybody in the top 5, in every division, they have competed more, except for maybe men's open bodybuilding. But I think if you've won the Olympia, you're in an echelon, different tier above everybody else. So yes, you're qualified for life. That should continue. But I think beyond that, you should qualify, which shouldn't be hard. You should be able to walk into a show and win it. Right? So, any other questions, guys? Anything else that you'd like to see change? I'm curious to see how they're going to do the Masters Olympia qualifications. I'm curious to see that. If you won multiple Olympia qualifications in a year, does that transfer over? No. Again, nope. Everything starts fresh. Everything starts fresh as of November 21st. Any other questions? All right. Well, as we are wrapping up here, again, another congratulations to Jared on the Emerald status. We will be back on live tomorrow because we're going to preview the shows this coming weekend tomorrow. If you have not gotten your tickets yet for Cuties Conquering the Stage, we do have full price tickets available. We also have live stream tickets available. And as I've told you guys before, our live stream is interactive. We have a host on. You get to ask questions. You'll have girls in the chat, so you can actually talk to people while you're actually on the live stream. So it's a lot of fun. What else? If you want to work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing. I'll see some of you guys this weekend at the Virginia Mid-Atlantic Classic show this weekend. It's the one with a really long ass name. I'll see y'all there. I got a bunch of girls doing that show, and then we're off to the races for Olympia. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys back here 8:15 tomorrow night. Have a great rest of your evening, and let's see what changes get implemented in 2023. Right? All right. Good night, you guys.